I would love to be inside, but the Liberal Party is continuing to block independent press.
So that's why you're chasing people around the street.
I think Pierre Poilievre should get a security clearance.
Yeah. Do you think Canadians can actually still trust the Liberal Party, who actually destroy the immigration system, they destroy the economy? What did you think about the fact that they remove Chandraria and Rubidala from the race?
I don't know the internal reasons. I was not told that, but I trust the party and their judgment. I have full faith in what the party's done.
Mm-hmm. Minister Olen, knowing that the COVID-19 vaccine have done a lot of consequences, do you think we should remove those products from the market? Mr. Olen, you're the health minister. Do you think we should remove the COVID-19 vaccine from the market?
Je tiens à vous remercier, chez libéraux, de m'avoir accordé le plus grand honneur qui soit, celui de servir comme votre nouveau chef. Merci.
Dimanche dernier, mon collègue Guillaume Roy et moi avons pris la route vers Ottawa pour couvrir le couronnement de Mark Carney en tant que nouveau chef du Parti libéral du Canada. Bien qu'il ne soit pas encore premier ministre, cela pourrait changer plus vite qu'on le pense. Tout dépend, bien sûr, de la prochaine décision de Justin Trudeau. La victoire de Mark Carney n'a surpris personne, mais le déroulement de la course soulève de sérieuses questions. Pourquoi? Eh bien, seulement un membre inscrit sur 3 a réussi à se faire vérifier et à voter. Alors, que s'est-il vraiment passé? Et pourquoi le parti n'est pas plus transparent concernant l'éviction de 2 candidats, Arya Chandra et Rubidala? Le Parti libéral traîne une mauvaise réputation depuis une décennie, surtout après la sombre période des confinements au Canada, lorsque les citoyens étaient forcés de se plier à des politiques totalitaires pour rester dans les bonnes grâces du gouvernement. Dimanche, j'ai croisé plusieurs ministres et anciens ministres du cabinet de Trudeau. Certains nous ont carrément évités, d'autres ont esquivé nos questions. L'une des principales questions que je voulais poser tout d'abord, était la suivante. Est-ce que Mark Carney devrait dévoiler ses avoirs financiers pour être transparent envers les Canadiens? Le fait est que Carney détient d'importants actifs financiers et que, en tant qu'imminent remplaçant du premier ministre, il pourrait accéder au pouvoir sans avoir précédemment révélé sa fortune, les éventuels conflits d'intérêts et l'endroit où son argent était investi. Cette inquiétude devient encore plus légitime lorsqu'on apprend que Mélanie Joly lui aurait donné un briefing confidentiel sur les tarifs douaniers américains imminents. Une information que les autres candidats n'ont jamais reçue. Ce qui est d'autant plus troublant, c'est que Carney aurait joué un rôle dans la décision de déplacer le siège de Brookfield Asset Management de Toronto à New York afin d'échapper à l'impact de ces mêmes tarifs. Alors, que se passe-t-il vraiment dans les coulisses? Je vous laisse découvrir mes interactions avec les libéraux.
Voilà où mène la politique négative de la division et de la colère. La moitié des États-Unis craint l'autre et s'en méfie. Nous ne pouvons pas laisser une telle situation se produire au Canada.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question about Mark? I just want to know why Mark Carney is refusing to release his asset. He wants to be prime minister. Do you think he should be more transparent about it?
Ma'am, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Nice to see you. I'm well. How are you?
When the CSIS Act was prepared, there was no iPhone. You can see that there's a certain gap in some of those authorities. So we think a thoughtful, more holistic review of national security legislation is the time to deal with the very thoughtful recommendation in the Emergencies Act. The presence of the Ottawa Police Service that does terrific work in dozens and dozens of protest situations every year. This was an extraordinary moment that required extraordinary measures. But we think the Government of Canada has to strengthen its partnership, for example, with the Ottawa Police Service.
Mr. Dominic LeBlanc, you are now the finance minister. Do you think that Mr. Mark Carney should actually release all his assets before being a prime minister?
I'm not going to chat to you. I think you should go stand in front of that door. I think you'd do better there.
I would love to be inside, but the Liberal Party is continuing to block independent press.
So that's why you're chasing people around the street.
No, I'm scrumming people around the street.
No, it's not a scrum if we're walking to a car.
It's no comment.
No, you're not, but you're a public servant, isn't it? You should answer the question, isn't it? Yeah. You pay for answering question, so you should actually like answer to every kind of people. Media, independent media.
I talk to media all the time. I spent a lot of time today talking to the media.
So why you never actually take the time to accept our request for being there as media?
Excuse me.
Mr. LeBlanc? Are you going to be more freedom of the press with Mark Carney as Prime Minister? What about the process of the vote? So again, this is Dominic LeBlanc. Mr. LeBlanc is now the new finance minister, and of course he's endorsing Mark Carney. He's not going to comment about if Mr. Carney should be transparent about his financial asset because he's still refused to release it. We don't know yet if Mr. Carney have conflicts of interest. We don't know where he's making his money from. We don't know where he's investing his money. Does he invest in multiple climate change and other green policy, blocking us to actually go forward with pipelines? Because as you remember, Mr. Carney was supporting the blocking of the pipeline here in Canada while actually receiving big paycheck from Brookfield Asset Management of pipeline project around the world. But you see, Mr. LeBlanc refused to answer to independent news outlet that is today Rebel News.
And yet your company has invested billions of dollars in oil companies in both Brazil and the UAE to buy pipelines. You bought billions of dollars of pipelines as a company in the last 5 years. Do you support those investments?
Mr. Poilievre, there is a global energy system, and one of the issues, I'm trying to explain a bit of how the economy works. One of the
Thank
issues,
you so much.
It may help. One of the issues for this committee in thinking about a sustainable transition.
Do you support it?
Where is Canada's role in those as energy transitions from fossil fuels to renewables? And in different jurisdictions, into different geography, it matters. It matters, and this is a fundamental point.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. This is a fundamental. You're finally getting to a point
You've exceeded
that
the
is
time.
relevant to this committee's inquiry.
What you're saying is you oppose pipelines in Canada, but you support them in the UAE and in Brazil. That's what you've actually said.
There are specific.
That's your double standard.
It is not a double standard.
It is a double standard.
No, it's not.
You make billions of dollars off foreign pipelines, and you shut them down here at home, putting our people out of work.
Monsieur Félix Champagne, vous avez un petit moment. Venez nous parler. Vous n'êtes pas en onde, ça commence juste à 5 heures, Monsieur Champagne. Bon, vous avez pu voir, M. Champagne, bien sûr, dit « Je suis très pressé, je suis en onde bientôt ». Sauf qu'il a beaucoup de temps pour prendre des petits selfies avec des petites madames aux entrées de l'immeuble. Donc, M. Champagne veut juste ne pas répondre aux questions. M. Champagne, je pensais que vous étiez pressé, M. Champagne. So I just had an interaction with Frank Baylis. Frank Baylis is one of the candidates for the Liberal leadership race. I don't know if you saw our report on Frank Baylis, but one of the things is that his company was awarded a $237 million contract to produce ventilators during the COVID-19 pandemic. It sounds noble, but no. Baylis was no longer MP, but he was still deeply embedded within the Liberal network. And that contract, it got awarded without a competitive tender. So I asked him a couple of questions. Check it out. Mr. Baylis, how are you? Do you think you have a chance to win today?
I think in some ways I've already won. We put a lot of important things on the agenda that people want to talk about, and I've been honestly overwhelmed by the positive responses. So yeah, we'll see for sure.
What did you think about the fact that they remove Chandraria and Rubidala from the race?
I don't know the internal reasons. I was not told that, but I trust the party and their judgment. I have full faith in what the party's done.
Because they claim that the risk of foreign interference, but they kept the money raised by the candidate.
Well, I don't know if there's even a process to give money back because the money doesn't go from the candidates.
We got to go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
Merci.
Thanks. Do you think Mark Carney should release his financial asset to get clean about his record?
I think Pierre Poilievre should get a security clearance. Don't you ask Pierre to get a security clearance?
I just had an interaction with Omar Al-Gabram, the former Minister of Transport. He was a minister during the Freedom Convoy, and he was mainly responsible of some policies put in place. Let's check it out. I just want to know, do you think that Mr. Carney should release the financial asset that he has? Do you think that he should release all his assets for being more transparent for Canadians? Do you think that the freedom of press is something really important here in Canada? Do you think Mark Carney and the Liberal Party should allow independent press to get to your event?
It's a good defense of that.
I know.
I mean, Mr. Gabram, why you don't want to answer? Do you have any regret of the policies that you and your government hold during the pandemic? Do you have any regret? Do you have anything to say to Canadians about the fact that Canadians have been denied their rights to travel during the pandemic? Mr. Gabram, do you regret to have froze the bank account of the people who were protesting peacefully here in Ottawa? Do you have anything to say to Canadians for the economic crisis that we are living on, and that is part because of your party? Do you think it was the right thing to freeze the bank account of the Canadian? Do you think that Mark Carney wants to be Prime Minister? Do you think Mark Carney should be more transparent about his financial assets?
Yeah. And there was a period where there was...
Do you have any concern that Mark Carney actually lied about the fact that his company, Brookfield Asset Management, moved the headquarters from Toronto to New York City? What about that? Do you have any concern that he lied to Canadians on live TV about that?
The flight got delayed. I didn't get in until 4 a.m.
Oh. Damn.
Why the Liberal never acknowledge that? What? Can you explain to me why the Liberals never take any responsibility of what you're doing? You actually beat up protester that was peaceful in Ottawa because he wanted to have their basic freedom. And you never came out to try to speak with them. You invoked the Emergencies Act. You froze bank account. You don't have any things to say to Canadians? Why you have nothing to say? You're a public servant. You should answer question, isn't it?
Or when are you going back?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Canadians can actually still trust the Liberal Party, who actually destroy the immigration system, they destroy the economy, they have the housing crisis, the economic crisis? Do you think people can still trust the Liberal Party?
No.
Are you going to lower the number of immigrants that are coming here every year? Do you have any concern about the extremism that we can have here by bringing thousands of Gazans? So you just got it. Omar Gabra, I tried to do my best. As I say, I'm just trying to bring some question as it goes. especially because in English is not my first language, but I think I did it right. I asked if he had any apologies to give to any Canadian about what they have done so far to Canadians, especially during the convoy. But as you can see, they don't want accountability. They don't want to be challenged on what they did. And this is the Liberal Party. They will never change. Minister Olen, knowing that the COVID-19 vaccine have done a lot of consequences, do you think we should remove those products from the market? Mr. Olen, you're the health minister. Do you think we should remove the COVID-19 vaccine from the market? Do you think that? Mr. Olen doesn't want to answer the question about the COVID-19 vaccine. As you know, there was a lot of bad side effects, and I just asked if we should remove those products from the market. But Mr. Olen, that is the new health minister, seems to not care about those issues. Do you think that Mark Carney should release all his financial assets that he has to be clean in front of Canadians? Why are you not answering, Mr. Miller?
The Emergencies Act spells out a clear process that must be followed once an emergency is declared. Yesterday, the orders and regulations that allow us to take action were published in the Canada Gazette. They outline in specific terms our clear, targeted, and proportionate response to this crisis.
Mark Carney wants to be the Prime Minister. Do you think he should release his financial asset to make sure that he's getting clean for Canadians? What do you think of that? Why you don't want to answer? Mr. Esasi, can I ask you quickly, do you think Mark Carney should be releasing his asset to come clean for Canadians? Do you think we should send more money to Ukraine? Mr. Ali Esasi.
The organizer is telling you to leave the place. I don't want you to walk
backwards, sir. It's not safe to walk backwards. It's not safe to walk backwards. Turn around.
Mr. Adam, do you regret for stopping us the other day?
Do I have a regret? I live without regret.
No regret. What about closing the blinds? What was that tactic to close the blind on us? Why did you try to block the camera of my producer, Efron Mosento? Do you think you have the right to decide who is the press and who should report on stories? Mr. Adam, why are you not answering questions? You're a Liberal MP. You should probably answer a couple of questions, isn't it? Why are you filtering like the press? Mister? You have nothing to say about the other day?
Answer the question!
You see, some people are saying you should answer the question. You're a public servant. You should answer a question. Why did you block us the other day? Who is paying for the RCMP of Mark Carney? Is it the party or is it the taxpayer? Why are you not answering question? As soon as they pass the fence, they know that they are safe because obviously the security asked me to not pass through the fence. So they go quickly and they run inside for making sure to not answer our question. N'oubliez pas d'aller sur calltheelection.ca. Sur ce site web, vous pouvez signer notre pétition pour demander des élections maintenant. Au lieu d'une course à la chefferie, nous aurions dû avoir des élections pour décider qui va être notre prochain chef pour dealer avec M. Donald Trump. Donc, calltheelection.ca, allez-y maintenant.